The men in the timber industry, as they're coming off the mountain into camps, into their homes, they would kick off their boots as they're cruising down in what's called a crummy vehicle. They kick off their work boots and put on a set of Romeos. So hence these boots have been called the crummy boots. So friends, it wasn't just with the timber folks, but it's anywhere from fishermen to the construction workers. This boot has become popular amongst the tradies for generations, and with 75 years under their belt, this Georgia boot has certainly caught a lot of people's attention, and today it has caught mine. So friends, we're gonna be getting into this boot and I am so excited about it. Now friends, if you guys have been back watching the channel for some time, I just wanna say thank you so much. We have an ever-growing subscriber base, but friends, there's some of you guys that I know have been around for some time, and honestly, I just thank you so much for coming back and watching all the content through its highs and lows. Maybe there's boots that you're not always interested in. Again, friends, I just want to say thank you. If you're new here, my name is Charles. This is the Gentleman's Journey. We talk a lot about men's boots and other guy-related things. Make sure and subscribe, because that way you can see boots like this in their 1 to 2 year reviews. That's where we really get into how these things are performing. But I like to do an initial review where we're going to get into the build quality, the construction, talk about the sizing, the pricing, my thoughts, what some other folks are saying, and we have a lot of fun. So guys, today again, the Georgia boot, this is their Romeo. This is called the Georgia Giant, and it is a 3-inch slip-on, not quite a Chelsea boot, though some people consider it a Chelsea boot, but check it out, friends. So this is what we're getting into today. And just like any good Gentleman's Journey video, you bet we're gonna take these on an adventure. We got a fun one planned today, so make sure and hang back at the end of the video where we get these things out and put them through their paces on the original walkthrough. But friends, one thing that's really got me encouraged for these boots, and quite honestly, I'm surprised I haven't tried them on sooner, is one of my best buddies, him and I met in seminary and we were just the best friends. He wears these boots and he's wore them every day for the past umpteen years. And so he doesn't have a lot of boots in his closet. This is about it. So he really loves these boots, and we always joke about, you know, why I haven't got them on the channel. But so this video is dedicated to my good buddy Peter. And you know, what he tells me is he's getting about a year or so out of them, and that's really solid use. Again, he doesn't wear a lot of other boots, so it's hard for me to wear out a set of boots at this point, because as you guys can tell, I just have so many boots. So I'm filming right now wearing my extra tough boots. I thought that would be kind of fun, because if you don't know, Georgia Boots is owned by Rocky Brands. Rocky Brands also owns Extra Tough. And so at any rate, I'm kind of sticking with that company today, but it's hard for me to really just pound down a set of boots because I'm always wearing the next one. Because like I say, when you subscribe, you hang back for the 1 year review, that's how I can tell you how they really perform. Now, it's very few boots that I'm able to wear every single day, and the ones I like more, obviously I do. Again, I go crazy about my redback boots, slip them on, and that's what attracted me to these boots, because again, you got the 2 pull tabs up top, and you just slip these suckers on, and they really work with my run and gun lifestyle. So that's something that attracted me to these right away. The closest I've got to really just going through a set of boots are those redbacks. I probably have gone through them now. And then my original Thursday Captains. Now my Captain boots are what got me into filming here on YouTube in terms of boots and the whole Gentleman's Journey. And one day I think we'll see a resole on those. I'm hoping to get a lot of different boots where we do resoles. I might do a couple even if I just want to see what a different outsole looks like on them. But at any rate, friends, if you've been around the channel a while, you know that the way I like to review these boots is starting top down. So we'll look at the box real quick. Look, they say America's hardest working boot. So we'll see in a year if that claim comes true. Again, I kind of mentioned they're owned by Rocky Brands. It's an American company, so these boots are American made, but they're used materials that are sourced globally. So we don't know a lot about where all the different materials come from, but we'll get into that as we get through it. I like to work top down, and I usually start with the laces and with the hardware. There's no laces and no hardware. So again, you're gonna have these two pull tabs, and that's what I really like as opposed to one. I've never found that the front one gets in the way of my pants or anything, but I like to be able to really just pull that apart. I got a size 12 foot that I gotta cram in there, and so sometimes the neck of these boots are really small, and I like that my fingers can fit in there. Friends, I have really big hands, and I like that I can get my fingers in there. Sometimes there's a pull tab and you can't even get your finger in there, but no hardware. And some of the first things you notice is that green and black tab. If you're across the room and you start understanding these boots, you could pick out a Georgia Giant from across the room just by the pull tab. You can do that with Blendstones and all the different boots. You kind of start seeing a boot even by its pull tab. Beyond that, you're gonna have these elastic side panels that are stretchy. The next thing, friends, is obviously the leather. Now, this is full grain leather. It's almost pebbled, and it kind of starts looking more pebbled as they wear. From the pictures I've seen in the boots, it's a little bit of a pull-up leather. You can see the color changing, and we just don't know a lot about the tannery or any of the processes there. Let me know if you guys have found anything that I haven't online in terms of the leather and where they source it and anything to do with their tanning. But this stuff, in terms of care, friends, is gonna just take basically whatever you got in your closet in terms of conditioner. Don't go out and buy anything special or anything new for this leather. It is a cheaper leather, and I know that just by the price point of the whole boot. But in terms of cleaning it, friends, you're not gonna have to go too crazy. You can use saddle soap, you can use leather cleaner, and then just get a good boot oil, boot cream, a conditioner on there. And honestly, these things, the leather is gonna last about as long as the rest of the boot stays together. So again, friends, this is a 3-inch boot. I'm used to 6-inch boots. If you look at some of their other options, some of their other colors, it comes in a 4-inch. This particular model, I think, just comes in what's called a soggy brown. I feel like they could have done better with a color choice there. Soggy brown just doesn't give off the best vibes in my estimation, but at any rate, this is kind of the classic quintessential Pacific Northwest boot. I went to seminary in Portland, Oregon, and I spent a lot of time on the coast, Washington, Oregon, Idaho. This boot is really popular. I'm doing this review down in Florida, so I'm kind of mixed up. I'll be up there in just a couple months, so I should have waited on this boot, but I've been really excited. So again, this is the soggy brown 3-inch, and it's made in America. That's what's going to attract you guys, but of course it has the globally sourced. They do have different colors. They have sometimes the heel counter they'll wrap in canvas like a camo, or they'll put American flag. Even the side panel, you can get an American flag on there. So check the website for all those different options. And then of course they're going to have a kids boot option and then a women's boot. And the women's, they do have quite a few different colors and styles as well. One of the models they have is this revamp. It has the SPR leather, and that's that barnyard safe. So it's going to resist all the different acids and stuff like that you're throwing at these boots. If you check back the channel, I was just doing a video on this Norwegian shoe cream, and according to my buddy, he's a cobbler, my good cobbler buddy, I got a couple of videos you guys can check out with him. He said the Norwegian will actually coat leather and give it that barnyard acid proof protection as well. So this doesn't have that, but again, you can get that SPR option in a different color. It's more light brown tan, so it might be a color you're looking for as well. A few different things on the website. While I'm thinking about the website, I just want to let you guys know that I did buy these boots myself. We'll get into the price in a minute, but friends, what can I say? I'm representing Rocky Brands today. So Rocky, if you're watching, show the guy some love, man. I got a couple of your boots. We're a boot channel. You got a bunch of boots I'm interested in, so let's talk. But at any rate, I'm never going to be backed into the corner. I've had a lot of companies send me out boots. I buy a lot of my own boots, and I just give it an honest review. So I think we covered a lot of the different leather options. You can check back the website for more of those. Onto the stitching, you'll see double stitching in certain spots, and then you got kind of a big stitch coming across this 3/4 inch rubber kind of buffer at the bottom there. Not a lot of stitching to be noted on this boot, but at any rate, we'll see in the 1-year review how that holds up. Let me know in the comments if you guys have had any stitching problems. I don't see anything right out the gate. From what I can understand from my buddy, the whole boot kind of wears out all about the same time. Now I like to go inside the boot, and this boot is lined. We'll talk about a lot of different Red Wings and stuff that's unlined, so it has a really good thick leather. And I think that this liner helps just account for some of that thinner leather. It is a thinner leather. And then it has kind of a mesh breathable liner on the inside of the boot. Then down to the insole, the liner, guys, it has some more of that green mesh, and I think it's wrapped around memory foam. So they don't say specifically what that is, but that's why these boots are really comfortable right out the get-go. It's not leather, so it's not, the footbed is not gonna mold to your foot like leather, but it's memory foam. So obviously that's why we start seeing the price point a little bit lower than obviously some of our Red Wings and stuff like that. Then into the midsole, friends, it's gonna have that EVA material, and that's gonna become more and more popular in boots. We see it in a lot of the stuff. Again, with the extra tough boots I'm wearing now, it has the EVA. A lot of the Rossi boots, the Redbacks, all of that has it in there. It's not gonna quite mold to your foot like leather is. It's definitely not as good quality as a stacked leather midsole. And then a lot of times those companies put poured cork in there too. That's far superior, but at any rate, it will squish down a little bit when you walk, and then it will somewhat make a bit of a footbed, but it's one of those materials where you gotta use it or lose it, they say. So it has these little air molecules in that EVA material, and it can actually end up just degrading and chunking off, kind of breaking up. So believe it or not, this stuff is meant to be used. This EVA material, the more you use it, it's actually healthier for it. But at any rate, guys, that leads to the comfort. That leads to the basically zero break-in in terms of the midsole. And then it has a steel shank in there. So that's gonna give you support, give you arch support and whatnot like that. Not a whole lot going on there, nothing too crazy in terms of the liner, the midsole, and the shank. That's kind of what you can expect. Now onto the welt, friends. That's of course what brings the leather upper, connects it to the outsole. So friends, that's what you're seeing here in this brown color. That's this Goodyear welt on there. So that's one of the boasts of this company. That's probably one of what they would say one of the top qualities of this boot, but I think it's up for discussion. So it does have a Goodyear welt, and this is actually plastic, so it's not leather. What we like to see, and Thorogood does that too. Thorogood is a largely leather boot, but Red Wing would have this leather. All your top boot makers will have that be a leather piece there. They have it brown color to make it almost look like what boots should be leather. But again, friends, you got to take it all into perspective, what you're looking for out of a boot, how much money you want to spend, and kind of, you know, do you want to keep buying new boots all the time, or buy something once that you can reconstruct several times over the lifetime. This is something where that's a piece where if you were to have this redone by your cobbler, I put a new outsole on there, you'd want that to be leather. That's something they could do, but we'll get into that a little bit later if it's even worth bothering with. So at any rate, friends, this thing has what's this stands out from across the room. I said the pull tabs, but really this 3/4 inch, maybe inch rubber buffer there, that's really connected into the welt too. So that's going to give it all that water resistant, waterproofing qualities to it. But in my estimation, it looks goofy. It's gonna have to grow on me. So that's something I can't quite wrap my mind around, other than obviously the waterproof abilities. Again, for being kind of your crummy boot coming down off the mountain and stuff, it's evolved into much more than that. So it's no longer just kick off your work boots, but a lot of guys are wearing these day in, day out. Like I say, my buddy, it's pretty much all he wears. And so now you're looking for some waterproofing characteristics about it. The thing that I question there is it's such a short boot. I mean, what muddy situations are you getting into that stays at that 3-inch or below mark, where you're not getting stuff coming up into your boot where you might want a muck boot or something? Again, even my 6-inch, let me show you the extra tough. That's a boot where it's kind of short, you know. If you're really traipsing through the mud, you might want a taller 8-10 inch muck boot, which again, muck boot is owned by the same company. So none of these guys are competitors. on a bigger scale. But at any rate, this guy, it got me wondering, you know, with this huge rubber buffer there, you're traipsing through creeks and stuff's gonna splash up. But at any rate, that's all interconnected. This rubber buffer has stitching at the top. Undoubtedly it's glued, and then it has the welt coming down in there. So we'll talk about in the 6-month, 1-year review range how that's holding up. I'll make sure and try to get into some situations with this boot where getting it wet and stuff like that to see the waterproofing capabilities. So onto that outsole, guys. So this is that polyurethane. So this is again one of probably the strikes I would give this boot. It's polyurethane. It's a little bit grippy now, but it's pretty thin treads. So I'm really interested to see how it goes overall. Again, with that steel shank and a little bit of a heel on there, you're gonna have a good arch support. So if you're transitioning from a boot and you still want some of those attributes, it's not gonna be something that you could use on a ladder. You know, if your job requires you to have a heel for a ladder, it's not that big of a heel. But again, with this polyurethane stuff, you know, we're seeing this more and more as well. So how would this hold up to maybe the Red Wing traction tread or even the Thorogood Maxwear wedge outsoles? I don't know. I think both of those wedge outsoles are gonna outlast this for sure. That's my estimation, and I think that's my experience with a lot of this polyurethane. So that's kind of the first area that's really starting to bug me with this boot. But again, at the price point, I guess what can you expect? What I would like to see these guys do, the Georgia boot, is to maybe do what Brunt has done. So Brunt has kind of like that Max wedge, or kind of like the Red Wing traction tread. They have the wedge outsole, and then they skimmed it with a piece of rubber. So ideally, you're gonna wear out that rubber is gonna last a lot longer than that wedge outsole. This material is not even as good as the wedge outsole, and I'm just concerned that that's gonna wear out pretty soon. Obviously, it's Goodyear welted, so you can go ahead and change that. I think it'd be neat, you know, to be honest, even to buy a brand new boot like this and just rip that off and put a cool Goodyear outsole or something like that. So I don't know, that's something that we're gonna definitely be seeing how that wears. So I think what my buddy's telling me is within a year or so of good wear, that outsole's gone, and I'm not sure that there's enough boot left to justify go ahead and taking it down to your cobbler and getting it resold. In terms of other options though, they do have this in kind of that wedge platform. So if you don't need a heel, they offer the wedge as well. I think it's still going to be made of that same polyurethane. So I don't know if there's a huge difference for a guy to go between this and that. It might honestly just be more for looks, because again, these aren't lugs. You're not going to be tracking rocks or bringing in extra mud or anything like that with these guys. In terms of sizing, again, I said they have men's, women's, then they have kids. Go ahead and check the website, but they offer 6.5 up to 17. They have a bunch of half sizes, and again, there's, what did I get? 11.5. So I measure a 12 on a Brannick device, and I went half a size down. So if that helps you guys out, I'd love to answer any questions you have about sizing. Again, I don't think I went, yeah, mine's the standard. So they have a standard width and then a wide width. You can order all that on Amazon. I'll have a link for you guys for that as well. In fact, I just want to let you guys know that in the description, you'll see the links. And friends, honestly, when you guys make purchases through there, it's going to send you over to Amazon or to whatever store I send you to. And when you guys make a purchase, it's not going to cost you any extra. It's just going to give me a little kickback. And friends, honestly, that's how I'm able to buy boots like this. That's how I can keep the channel going, and quite honestly take some time out of my schedule, out of my day, and develop these videos. So I've been seeing a lot of those come in, and I sure appreciate it. So if you guys are thinking about these boots or a different boot you see on the channel, do what you can to click through that link. It's not going to cost you any extra. But at any rate, friends, I always appreciate you guys doing that for me. Let's get into the pros and cons a little bit. So obviously there's a lot of pros. One of the first things you're going to see is the cost. So the cost is probably the biggest pro. You can get into these right away. You can wear them to work that day, and honestly, I don't think you're going to get too many blisters or anything like that. They don't have a huge break-in process. The only thing that is really has to get broken in is the leather. It's pretty soft, pretty thin, supple leather, so even that isn't really a break-in. With the EVA and all that in here, the rubber, it just doesn't have much of a break-in. A word of caution with these stretchy side panels, friends, if you get your ankle in there and it's cutting off your circulation, you either need to go wider, longer, or maybe a different boot. So that part is not gonna outstretch, it's not gonna break in. Honestly, this thing, by the time that starts breaking in, if you will, and gets any more stretchy, it'll be about a year and you'll be wondering if it's time for a new boot. So with all these Chelsea style boots, if that's too tight on you, it's not a good sign, and you're probably gonna have to go a different direction. Some more pros to these is you can resole them. Again, that pro kind of slips its way into the con section because we'll have to see my own experience. I'd love to know what you guys have seen if you have these boots, but I don't, from what I can understand from my buddy, about the time it needs a new reconstruction, new outsole, the rest of the leather is basically deteriorated. You're gonna see this detaching, that rubber bumper around there, you're gonna see that start to detach, and then you'll start wondering, is the cost of resoling these that much cheaper than buying a new pair? Because these boots here are only $100. So that's pretty much what I found them for on Amazon. Again, check the link to see the newest price at any point whenever you're watching this video, but I'm wondering how much a cobbler is really gonna charge you, maybe 50 to 80 bucks to get these things resoled. Because I think the outsole itself will probably be around 20 or better. And then a guy's worth his wage, so you wanna make sure and pay him to do all the work to resole that. So give that some thought. But onto the cons. Again, I'm not sure. It's gonna have to grow on me. The look's gonna have to grow on me, so I'm gonna wear it so I can give a good review, but I don't know. The good, I guess, going back to the pros, it'll work with any pant. This isn't something that's gonna need a slim fit pant. In fact, most guys, when I see them in the Pacific Northwest wearing this boot, it's always with kind of a loose fit, a relaxed fit, cowboy boot cut. I mean, it doesn't require a really tight ankle at all. So it's very versatile. I do think you could wear it out. You know, it just depends on what going out on the town looks like for you. Obviously, if I'm talking to a guy in New York, he's like, I don't even know if guys would wear this boot over there. But at any rate, take that into your whole lifestyle. But it is more versatile than a lot of other boots. Again, onto the cons, it's cheaper materials. Some of the qualities there just aren't what they need to be. And then the outsole. But without picking on this thing, let's go into who's it for. So we kind of talked about maybe you're not going to wear it out to a steak dinner in New York City, but friends, this is a really good option if you need a boot, if you need a crummy boot, if you're coming down off the job site and you want to throw something on comfortable for the rest of the day. You got to get out and mow the yard, you got to run to Walmart and get groceries with your wife, you got to go and walk the dog. I mean, there's just a million things that this boot's good for. I think it's good as your second alternative work boot. I don't think it's a good main work boot for pretty much any career, any field. I really don't. I don't think it's strong enough to be qualified as a work boot. The materials, that's not what we're about on this channel. I want to get you guys into some of the higher quality, you know, at least Red Wing, if not into the Franks, Whites, Nicks, JK. I mean, there's so many good boot makers out there. The list just goes on and on. But something that's quite a bit tougher, something that you know without a doubt you would like to reconstruct when it gets older. These guys, I think, would make a good cleaning day boot. And I hate to say it, but I said the same thing about Brunt boots. I wasn't impressed with Brunt boots and the quality, and I think these ones are probably very comparable to those, although maybe a little bit better. So friends, these guys, I would probably put a little bit class above Brunts because I wasn't too impressed with those. But say you got a good set of work boots, you need to, depending on the trade, you might be cleaning it once a week, every 2 weeks, or a month. If you're working, if you're not cleaning it once a month, you're doing something wrong, that's for sure. So on the days that you're cleaning them, you're supposed to clean the boot and then give it 24 hours to dry, at least 12 hours to dry. And then you're gonna hit it with a conditioner, and ideally you let it sit. If it's a waxy conditioner and you wear it the next day and you're doing concrete or cement, all those chemicals are just going to attach themselves to the sticky, if it's still kind of wet or moist, if you use an oil. And you're going to want to make sure and have a boot like this that you can wear in between cleaning. So this could be your cleaning day boot, but it's not going to be for everybody, obviously. Just give us some thought. You can see different pictures online and maybe some shots when we take this on a little adventure and see if it's something you could work into or not. Yeah, but speaking of that adventure, friends, what do you say we get out on an adventure? Make sure and ask me any questions you have about these boots. If there's different aspects of the review that you guys think I'm missing, let me know. I'll work it into the next video, or I'll hit you guys up in the comments and answer anything I can to the best of my ability. We have a good group of guys in the comment section, so appreciate all the back and forth on that. But friends, honestly, there's nothing more to do than to quit talking and get these boots out on a little adventure. My only clue for us today is where we're going. You can see for miles, so let's get out there. Friends, we are almost to this tower. Now guys, I got 3 observations to make really quick like. First of all, look how beautiful this place is. You know what, it just never gets old how awesome it is traveling and seeing different spots. Being down here in Florida is just too good. The next observation, the second one, is these boots honestly don't have much of a break-in thing. They really are comfortable right out the gate. I got the right size, everything is going a-okay for me. I've broken in a lot of boots. If you guys check back the channel, so I kind of know what I'm looking for at this stage in the game. Really excited about the fit of these boots and the overall comfort. The third thing is having them on my feet. You guys just saw that shot as I'm crossing that bridge, looking down at them. They're already growing on me. So I know as I head into summer, make my way up to the Pacific Northwest, I could kick around any of those streets and fit in just fine. But guys, let's go check out this tower. Well friends, there you have it. If this doesn't deserve a like button, I don't know what does. Now friends, if you haven't, consider subscribing because we're gonna keep coming back to places just like this. You know, this tower is so important down here because check out this lush forest behind me. Guys, it's so thick and so overgrown here that you could get lost, you don't know where you're going, and you just can't see anything. So where we're from, back west out in Colorado, I kick around Montana, even Oregon quite a bit. You can get up on a mountain, whether you're hiking or driving, and you can look out and see something. Over here, even check out from this tower, it's like you really still can't see that far back. At any rate, friends, we are enjoying the heck out of ourselves. You know, these videos gotta mean something for me. I gotta have these boots that actually take me places. So friends, definitely got a bunch of boots planned out for this year. But I'll tell you what, let me know what kind of boots you guys are looking to see. If you haven't picked up on it yet, I end up checking out a lot of the boots that you guys recommend. Now friends, I'm really loving these Georgia boots. I'm gonna keep coming back to this company some more. There's more boots that they put out that I got on my mind, so definitely be looking out for more Georgia boots. We're gonna do a 1-year review on these boots. We'll do cleaning videos on these boots, so a lot of reasons to stick around for that. But at any rate, friends, I think that's all we got for this one. Again, guys, may the Lord bless you. I just really appreciate all the love we get on this channel. So God bless you guys, and until the next video, don't forget to give those boots some love from time to time.